There's a 40-year-old man in Indiana who's going through a real rough time. He was getting divorced, and after the divorce, he moved back in with his parents, all of his belongings along with him. And so when life settled down a little bit and he was ready to move out, he got his own home, his own apartment, and he asked his parents to please send all of his belongings in boxes, to his new place where he's living, right? Well, all the stuff arrives, and he realizes that 12 whole moving boxes filled with his porn collection.
Oh my gosh.
Were not in the things that they sent.
His porn, like you're talking about magazines or videos or?
All the above. He had all of the
above. If it's 12 boxes, it's got to be all the above.
He had VHS tapes. He had magazines. He had books and pictures and DVDs and like all the above.
Wow. Well, can't you just get that online now?
I guess, but this was his collection.
Oh.
This was 12
that could be very important.
boxes. $30,000 worth of porn.
Oh, okay. It might be even collectible for all we know. It could be like an old issue of Playboy or something.
Could be.
Maybe.
I think you're really giving him the benefit of the doubt here. That
Why?
maybe he's not an addict. Maybe he's an addict.
Oh, he's definitely an addict.
I don't think these are like collectibles.
$30,000 worth of porn and you're mad about it?
Yes.
You're mad about it?
Well, you keep $30,000 of porn on your phone. It's more than that. There's tons of porn on your phone.
Oh, I don't keep porn on my phone.
But you can easily just go to the link.
You could. But this guy is suing his parents for $30,000 because they threw away his porn collection. He had titles such as Frisky Business and...
Oh, yeah, those are classics.
Oh, God. Big Bad Grannies. You know about that?
No, I don't, but I know Frisky Business was after Risky Business that came out, and I bet you that he's suing not because he's an addict so much, but he's suing because there's probably value of that, and he probably could have sold some of these collectible porn items.
Mm-hmm. Keep going. Go ahead.
I just think that there's value in it, so they basically threw out probably it's a large sum that he could have sold these things for. It would be like throwing out my baseball cards from a long time ago.
Okay, so I'm going to say something that might change your thinking on it, okay? So the parents are saying that he has a very big addiction to porn.
Obviously.
And when he was in high school, middle school and high school, he was caught by teachers and the principal selling porn to other students for money.
Sounds like an entrepreneurship spirit.
And middle school.
And we was the same age?
What?
Well, if you're the same age, like I can picture myself in high school getting hold of a Playboy magazine and be like, oh, I got this. And be like, all right, I'll sell it to one of my friends for money, right? I could picture myself doing that.
I don't know any parent that's going to be like, hell yeah,
My
make
kid sells
that
porn.
money.
He's out of high school now. That's my point.
He is 40 now.
Yeah.
He's 40. He moved back in with his parents after a divorce and then took all of his stuff with him to his parents' house. When he got a home of his own, they shipped all the stuff minus the 12 boxes of his porn collection. And he's really mad about it.
I think it has to do with the money aspect of it. And to be honest with you, if it was a mistake, that it was a mistake as his parents. But he's probably looking at that like he could have sold $30,000 worth of collectible porn.
Do you know what? I think that if you're that concerned about making sure that your collection stays in your possession, maybe you take it with you.
Right, now have your parents do everything.
Yes.
What a jerk move. Are going divorce is very tough. I get it. And you move back home. Fine. Your parents, they think they're done with you. You're back in their home.
They've set you
storing
free.
all your crap, including your 12 boxes of porn, and you're going to sue them?
No, I'm not
jerk.
saying, I'm not saying he's not a jerk for suing, but it would be like if my parents, because we thought for years that they threw out my baseball cards because I went to college and I just left them there and forgot about them, blah, blah, blah. Then I went, well, where's my baseball cards? So I thought that they threw them out. They thought that they threw them out. And I'm not going to sue my parents over it, but I was disappointed because I'm like, oh, I could have sold them. Luckily, they found them, but I wouldn't have sued them, but I guess I could have.
But this is porn. And especially, if he's already been in, had issues before where selling it to his friends, making profit off of pornography, they probably opened the boxes and were like, really? This again?
Really
they
disappointed.
Thought they were doing him a favor,
Like we're going to help him.
Right.
Like, let's say if your son, let's just say son or daughter's an alcoholic and they've been in AA or whatever.
Sure.
And then you're moving their stuff and you find 12 boxes of alcohol. You're like, ooh, this is bad. Let me throw this away.
Like, I don't want to be the one to give it to her.
Because I know it's not good for this person.
However,
but now
I wouldn't
it's at
have
your
taken
fingertips. It's literally at your
That
fingertips.
shows he's even more addicted that he has 12 boxes he's
I
carrying
think
around when he
it's the
doesn't need to.
collectible. It's the collectible now.
Maybe. So you sue your parents?
Only you would think about the collectible
It is.
porn.
You just said Frisky Business.
I did. You didn't know that's a collector's item.
Yes.
There's going to be some perv that still has a VHR or VCR, whatever they're called now, or were called VCR. That's like, man, I got to get this frisky business on VHS.
I wouldn't even use it. I think it's just like when you order one of these, an NTF almost, except that's today's thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like a collectible, or the video game, Super Mario Brothers, that was unwrapped.
Yeah.
So who knows if it's unwrapped?
I can guarantee you it's unwrapped and watched many times.
Probably it's all like sticky too.
I don't think it's mint condition.
No, I don't
But
either.
if it is, it would be worth more money, without a doubt. And the Super Mario Brothers just sold for $2 million unwrapped. I think it's the same kind of thing, and you have it behind a case. If it's unwrapped and not sticky, you're fine.
I've done a lot of reading about this guy, and I have not heard anywhere that these were collector items. So that's a new wrinkle.
That's an old school VHS frisky business.
It's in mint condition and not opened.
He's like a hoarder
Of porn
and addicted to it.
Yes. And by the way, you guys, it's even worse than I thought. The collection is worth $30,000. He is seeking financial damages from his parents, roughly $87,000.
That's messed
That's
up.
a messed up move.
Worse.
I'm not saying it's not a messed up move, but I see why
You
he's
can
upset.
see yourself doing that.
Well, no, not because of the addiction, because of the money aspect.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's go to our official attorney, Lisa Lanier. She's very excited about this. Yeah.
Set him straight, Lisa, please.
And can he win? Will he win this?
He actually already did win. Yes.
Oh my
God! The parents.
Justice!
So this case has been going on for 4 years. I've actually followed this case pretty closely. It's been a fascinating case. But yeah, he won. The judge ordered the parents to pay the $30,000 plus $14,000 in his attorney's fees.
Oh my gosh.
Because the judge kind of scolded them a little bit, and he said, "Look, parents, you could not cite any statute or any case law anywhere on the planet to support your argument that landlords can destroy property that they don't like. I mean, you can't do that, right?
It was his parents.
Right. But he was paying rent apparently, and they entered into a landlord-tenant type relationship with him. And they went into his room and took his 12 boxes, and it was magazines, it was VHS tapes, it was sex toys. I mean, it was really a lot of stuff. And you're right, he had a lifelong history of porn addiction going back to when he was a teenager. But it's different. When he was a teenager, they owned his stuff.
Right.
And at that point, when he was a kid, under 18, they could have destroyed anything they wanted to destroy. But once he's a grown man and he comes back and he's paying rent, and they have this landlord-tenant relationship, the landlord cannot go into your apartment or your room or whatever and destroy 12 boxes of your stuff. And that's just very basic. Of course they couldn't do that. And they admitted it. That's the problem. The judge's like, I can't even find any way around this. And I think the judge had a little sympathy for them. Like, I get that you're trying to help your son, but the parents emailed him and said, this is for your own good. This is what broke up your marriage. You got to get help.
Being good parents.
We did this.
Right. I hate this
guy. They admitted it. Right.
I do too.
I hate this guy. What a jerk.
And apparently it was a valuable collection. Like you said, it must be collector's items because the judge based that award, that $30,000, because he was actually asking for more than that. But the judge based the $30,000. They brought in an expert appraiser.
Jason, where were you last week? Where were you?
No, I told you though, it is collectible.
Career change for Jason.
A porn historian.
It would be like the same. It's the same feeling that if you have collectibles back when you were a kid.
I wouldn't sue my parents.
No, I wouldn't sue my parents either. And I am surprised that. Well, you said, the parents welcomed them in with open arms. He had to pay rent. Oh, let me ask you, Lisa, if
he's 40.
Okay,
Yeah.
But he just went through a divorce. I wouldn't do that to my son.
And maybe they don't have a lot of money, and so
they could have made money off the porn collection.
And then you sue your parents who are probably close to dying and take money out of their retirement.
It's horrible.
I
know that.
It's
horrible.
Yeah, he's clearly terrible, and they were trying to help him, and he's clearly terrible for suing his parents. And I mean, that's awful.
Well, let me ask you, if he
legally right, but he's an awful person.
you can be both. Right?
Lisa, if he wasn't paying rent and it wasn't this, and he was just staying at his parents' house and his boxes were there, would that change anything if they threw it out, or is it the fact that he started paying rent was the issue?
Most jurisdictions, they will still treat someone who is staying with you, even if you don't charge them rent, they will still treat that under the laws of landlord-tenant, and you will have to evict them. That's why people say, be careful if you let, your old college buddy or whatever come sleep on your couch, because sometimes it's hard to legally get rid of them, even if they're not paying rent. So most of the time they will still apply those same principles, and you would have to literally evict them.
Wow.
And you can't throw away their stuff. At least, they had agreed to ship him his belongings, and they just chose to throw away 12 boxes. There are situations where if the property was abandoned, and I think early on in this case, I think that was one of the arguments that they were making, like, look, he left, and he left all his stuff here, and so he's abandoned it. But clearly he had no intention of abandoning it, and they had agreed to ship it to him, so that kind of unraveled for them. But it's different if somebody truly does abandon something.
Lisa, real quick. Now, this was a judge decision. Now, if they took it to a jury, I don't know if there's a jury involved, but if there was, do you think a jury would say, like, do jury nullification say, all right, technically the parents were in the wrong legally, but you're a jerk. We're not going to award you this money?
Juries do that sometimes. It's called juror nullification, but this was actually decided by a judge, and judges follow the law. But sometimes juries do absolutely just throw out their considerations of the legal principles that they've been instructed on and just say, hey, you're a jerk, we're not going to give you anything. Okay. Or they'll make a point of like, yeah, you're right, and they'll award $1.
I see.
This is like one of those things where, what is the saying, you can't see the forest for the trees, where it's like, their parents are probably right. It probably ruined his marriage. It probably is ruining his life.
He must get something out of it, though.
And all he can focus on with his life crumbling around him, living with his parents at 40 years old, is, I have to salvage my porn collection.
Because of the money.
Your priorities are screwed.
It was in court for 4 years.
Yes.
It was because of the money,
for 4
though.
years. And it means this much to him that he's going to ruin his relationship with his parents.
Forever for $30,000.
Yeah. And again, if it meant that much to you, why the hell did you leave it there in the first place?
I'm with you, Katie. Now, we have another story, since we got you, Lisa, that we find interesting, and we're also trying to see if we can put a former employee in prison for this. There is a woman that might get 15 years in prison because she got fired, and she was real mad, and she destroyed her company's database.
Oh, gosh.
God.
And so they're pressing charges. It cost the company somewhere around $200,000. She worked in HR. She has a weird name. It's supposed to be Megan, but it's spelled Medgyne. She should have never been hired in the first place.
That's interesting.
But yeah, she deleted 17,000 job applications and resumes, and left a bunch of profanity-filled messages in the system for her bosses to find.
I mean,
she was angry.
We all dream of it.
We've all been there. We all want to do this stuff.
You just can't do it.
15 years in prison seems a lot.
Yeah, and she destroyed an entire database that was critical to their operations. That's what cost them $200,000. She cost them $200,000. I mean, that's a lot. And, this is such a classic mistake on their part. As soon as somebody leaves, you have got to destroy their access, sever it in their credentials. Don't allow. I think she still had credentials to sign in. She knew she wasn't authorized to, but, so at that point it becomes illegal. But yeah, it's a very serious. She was charged under Florida state law. She could also be facing federal charges. They probably won't, because usually they don't use the federal charge unless it's somebody that is doing it over and over and over, like a malware, thief kind of person, blackmailer who does it repeatedly. Usually a one-time revenge kind of thing like this, they'll let the state jurisdiction take care of it. But yeah, she could be facing up to 15 years, and it's true. All 50 states have these cyber laws like this, and generally just accessing a database or accessing a computer system that you're not authorized to access is a crime. It goes up in severity, levels up each time depending on like if you harm something, and then the value of that harm, like if you harm the database or something like that, or you cause damage. And then beyond that, if it's a government database, it's even more serious. So, hers was serious because she caused so much financial harm.
Now, if she pays it back, do you think they would, she won't face prison time? Or what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Is she going to go to prison, do you think?
Oh, yeah, I think she probably will. I mean, it's a pretty serious crime, and I don't think it's really going to matter. She may actually she'll have probably a restitution order in addition, and they could sue her in civil court to try to recoup money. But, I mean, when somebody's facing this kind of prison time and stuff, they don't have any money. They spend all their money on their attorneys, and they don't. She's not going to have any money. And she was already a problem when she was in the HR position, which she was only in for 6 months. She was already doing things like she locked an employee out to get back at them for something. I mean, she was already doing this stuff. I mean,
Sounds immature.
Sometimes there's bad hires. It happens. They seem good during the interview, and then you get in here and you're like, oh. Well, like, for example, we had a former intern. You remember intern Hugs Houlihan. He had access to our computers, and he deleted on accident 16,000 computer files, almost shut down the entire company.
Audio files.
Audio files. You know, like stuff that we've done on the show for years that we can never get back, ever. They're gone forever. Is there a way that we can at least put him in prison for like a weekend?
Not if he had authorized access and he was just, did it on accident.
Well, he was doing it the lazy way. He was trying to mass delete all at once. He was like, "This will take care of it," and then he just hit the mass delete button.
All right, we need to disable
that. If he had done it maliciously, absolutely.
Well,
it's all about the intent.
It's
all about the intent. You would have to prove the intent. So he could come off and he'd say, "Oh, my bad by accident," but there could have been intent there that we don't know.
Yeah, he was having a bad attitude around that
Yeah,
time.
He
Remember, he kind of shifted.
And then he left the company short. He chose to leave shortly thereafter.
I bet you we could prove it. And Lisa, another thing is, I happened to know this the other day, and it was not me, but somebody left their email open in the studio of the radio station, and the next person that came in was looking at it on the outside. Is that illegal?
I mean, technically, you are not supposed to. That's, again, that's called unauthorized access. So you're logging into someone's account or you're in someone's account that you're not supposed to be in. But typically, in a situation like that, it's not typically punished, or if it is, it's just a very light little misdemeanor slap on the wrist. But no, you wouldn't usually, if that person sat down at, some government official's desk and started looking at their email or something like that, then you might see a charge, something that was more serious than that. But just going over your coworker's email and starting to read it when they've left it open is probably not going to get you in trouble.
What about if someone that's on at nights here leaves his Facebook open and we read messages from him and a girl
and change his profile account?
They used to go on all the time here. People would leave their Facebook open, and all of a sudden you would have
Jason's hacked me before. I left it open, and he was written Jason Goodman is the sexiest, hottest guy.
I remember that.
And I was like,
Lisa said she remembers.
And I was like, Katie definitely wasn't hacked. I do want to ask this. I just thought about this because I was thinking about Hugs if he was ever in a court situation and being cross-examined, if he'd fold real quick.
Yes,
Lisa, in your professional experience, you've been very successful. Let's say if you were to cross-examine us on the show, who do you think would crumble under cross-examination?
Oh man, that's tough because you guys you're all pretty sharp. I think you guys would all do fine. I mean, you get prep. You got to be prepped. That's one of the keys. And you just have to be. You guys are all feisty, and you just kind of have to be mentally quick and feisty, and you'd all do fine.
So you don't think you could make one of us say, "Okay, I killed him"? They do in the movies all the time.
I think Matt.
I think so.
I think
Matt
will have a good straight face for a long time and keep going, and then his anger builds up and up and up and up and up, and you're trying to get the motion out of him, but his face just and then all of a sudden he snaps and says, "I killed him, and I'm going to kill you too."
I don't regret it at all.
I would be on the stand and I would start insulting the person that was trying to attack me. So
yeah, that's a dumb question.
Yeah.
All right, she's great. Official attorney of Jared and Katie in the Morning, Lisa Lanier. If you're ever injured on the job, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com.